60 Minutes Overtime.
This week on 60 Minutes, we reported on the ambitious operation to move an entire zoo full of animals from Puerto Rico to animal sanctuaries across the mainland United States. Pat Craig orchestrated this high-stakes rescue. He's the founder of the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado, where many of these rescued animals now reside. How confident do we feel about our locks here?
Confident.
This guy wants to get out.
She says, yeah.
Before the rescue in Puerto Rico, Pat Craig was dispatched by the Department of Justice to retrieve big cats kept by the so-called Tiger King of Netflix fame, Joe Exotic and Jeff Lowe.
We got the call with Joe Exotic, who was the main character of that whole series. Tigers were the best way, and lions and tigers were the best way for him to get attention. The animals were definitely suffering because of it.
He was succeeded by a guy, Jeff Lowe, and
Right.
you had to seize some animals.
So we took in over 80 animals from Joe, and then eventually we ended up taking in even more from Jeff Lowe.
These tigers, recovered from Joe Exotic's operation, now live in Pat Craig's Wild Animal Sanctuary. We got to see how they're doing. Just to be clear, these were Tiger King, Joe Exotic tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. These came from his compound in Oklahoma.
I'm guessing they didn't look like this when you went down there and rescued them.
No, you could see their backbones and ribs and things like that. They were definitely not starving to death, but definitely underfed.
What do we think this guy weighs?
Oh, he's probably right about 600 pounds.
600 pounds?
Yeah.
What do you think he weighed when you rescued him?
Oh, a lot less, like probably 400 at best.
So he's put on 200 pounds. Yeah. What kind of conditions was Joe Exotic keeping these guys in Oklahoma?
Well, it was just all these really small cages, line after line, because his number one thing was breeding them, because he wanted baby cubs. And so it was a gigantic breeding operation primarily. And then he would have all these cubs, and then they'd take them every day to the audiences that would come there and pay to hold them and take pictures with them. And so their life was just nothing but being, used and abused for their purpose. Now gets to do whatever he wants, when he wants, We don't make them do anything. They of course, don't breed. But always they just get to run and live with other tigers and just enjoy life instead of performing for other people.
And how did they take that? Must have been so jarring. How did they take to that?
Yeah, it's definitely not something that happens overnight. They have to learn a lot of it. So many of these guys have no idea what it's like to be a tiger. They were kept in a cage by themselves and of course pulled from their mother when they were born, and so their world was so different to them. Their idea of what life was changed dramatically coming here. And to watch them, you just see things start clicking in their head where they're like, oh, this makes sense.
I can do this.
I can do this. And I really like doing this. I like chasing this. I stalk that. All the natural behaviors. Right. They get to run here, clear across there where they can get up to, 40 miles an hour, 35, 40 miles an hour. And, in the cages they lived in, they paced 10 spaces and had to turn around and come back the opposite direction. They can run and build the muscle they would have in the wild, and even their coordination is off, things like that. Their muscle memory all has to develop. Like you can see the muscles on his arms, he had none of that when we rescued him, none of that muscle tone. And so they're doing amazingly well. They'll live a nice long life now.